Hello. In today's video I'm going to demonstrate how to sharpen a chainsaw blade. And I can tell quite easily that the blade is becoming blunt or dull, as they say in America, because it's becoming hard work. And also there's a faint smell of burning which indicates friction. And in fact, if I look at the cross section of the cut end of a piece of wood, I can see burn marks. So that clearly indicates to me that that blade needs sharpening. But there is no need for alarm or fear or concern, because it's only natural that the blade will become dull or blunt with use. Let's face it, it's cutting at high speed, aggressively against a hard object. And as careful as you may be, you might inadvertently hit a stone on the ground. And all these things slowly wear away at the sharpness of the blade. And I've been told that out in the field you should consider sharpening your blade every time you refuel your chainsaw. What you need for this job are some pretty sturdy, tough gloves, because even though it's blunt, it still has very sharp edges, and they will cut through flesh if you're not careful. Incidentally, these are those thorn-proof gloves that you've heard me speak about, and I'll put a link to those in the description box below this video. And full disclosure, if you buy these gloves through my link, I may well earn a commission, and I thank you for that. Another thing you'll need is a chainsaw file like this one, and again I'll put the link to that in the description below this video. Same rules apply. If you buy it through the link, I may earn a commission, and I am very grateful. Just think about the economics of this. I think I paid about £8 or £9 for this. A new blade is £20, and you can sharpen a blade between 15 and 20 times using one of these. So that pays for itself the first time you use it. The first thing we need to do is disconnect the spark plug. If yours is an electric chainsaw, please make sure it's not plugged in at the wall. And the reason I'm disconnecting the spark plug is because I'm going to be moving this blade with the lock off, and I don't want it self-starting or jump-starting or springing into life, and it can't start with the spark plug disconnected. My spark plug on this machine is in here underneath this air filter. I'm just rotating this little plastic nut, removing the air filter. Keep these objects safe where you can see them, you don't want to lose them. And there's the spark plug. I just pull it off, and it's as simple as that. Now, that's safe. It can't start without a spark, but belt and braces, I'm also going to make sure it's switched off here on the off button. Now that I've disconnected the spark plug, there's a couple of things I want to point out before I get started on sharpening the blade. Here's the blade. It rotates around this bar. And as you can see, mine is a little bit loose. It needs tightening, because that is a risk or a danger in itself. Simply because that blade is rotating at speed under power around this bar, and it could become so loose that it comes off at the end. Once it's detached, it could go anywhere, and it could cause a serious injury. So, whilst we're on the subject, let me just show you how that would be tensioned up. There are two nuts here. You loosen them slightly using a spanner. When they're slightly loose, you use a screwdriver in this nut here, and by turning that and rotating it, it pushes this bar in and out. To tension it, you need to push it in that direction, and that will take up the slack. Well, that's just for adjusting the tension on the blade. If you ever did want to remove and replace or swap out the blade, you completely remove these two nuts, take this plate off, you can take the bar away, and then you can replace the chain, put the bar back, put the plate back on, and put the two nuts back on. It really is that simple. And don't forget, when you are fitting a new blade on a chainsaw, it's important to fit it in the right direction, as indicated by this little symbol on the bar here. Of course, do make sure it's at the appropriate tension before you start using it. Let's start the job of sharpening this blade. You may have noticed I've got an indelible marker here. I'll explain what that's for in a moment. So this is the chainsaw lock. When it's pulled in close, it's for cutting, and it's unlocked, and you can see the blade is rotating. You push it out, it's locked. And we're going to be using that because that's part of the process. That's why you need to know about it. The first thing to do is to point out that these blades are divided in two. Some go in that direction and some go in that direction. We'll be sharpening all those that go in that direction first, and then we'll be sharpening all those in that direction next. But how do we know which have been sharpened and which have not been sharpened? That's what this is for. Make a mark on the top of one of the blades. So that's where we'll start and that's where we'll finish once it's rotated all the way around and we get back to the beginning again. These chainsaw files come with a plate on the top, and etched onto that plate, which they've named a file holder, you can see the angles of cut. However, you can also see the angle of cut if you're looking very close on top of a blade. Just here, it's engraved or etched with a diagonal line, and that's parallel to the angle of sharpening. So if you haven't got a plate, and you can use these files with or without the plate, you can use that as a guide. And I'm going to remove the plate because I want you to be able to see what's happening underneath. So just loosen these little wing nuts here. Slightly less easy with these thick gloves on, but off it comes. Now you can see that fits inside of the tooth, and I can see the angle on the blade. It's important to point out that I'm going to do all these in this direction first, and then I'm going to do all these in this direction second. At the moment, the blade is locked, and I have seen people secure this onto a bench with two pieces of wood inside of a vise. However, if you're doing this out in the field as I am, you might not have a vise or anything to connect it with, and it can be done by hand with a loose chainsaw. You just got to keep a grip of it. So let's get started. The blade is locked. You can see I've pulled the lock forward and the blade will not move. With the lock off, the blade rotates freely. Locked. Now what you need to do is put the file inside the circle or the key of the tooth and just pull it in that direction 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're only filing on the downstroke in the direction of the cut. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I can see that blade is sharpening in front of my eyes. I shall move on to the next one till eventually and inevitably I get back to the one I know I've already sharpened, because that's the one I started on. Simple job now. Change sides. Let's say we start here on the one just beyond it. 1, 2, 3. When you get slick at this, you can develop a little bit of a technique of rotating the blade. Just to reiterate, I am only exerting pressure to sharpen on the pull stroke, not on the push stroke. So there we are, a freshly sharpened chainsaw blade. A job which took me about 10 minutes using a simple file, and this, once it's tightened, will be good to go. A job which you can repeat 10 or 20 times on the same chain. Think about the economics. £20 for a new chain, £10 for a file. Hope you've enjoyed that video. Please do like it if you don't mind, because it helps me get the video promoted on YouTube, and subscribe to my channel. Comment below because it's always nice to hear from you, and I'll see you soon.